Control of consciousness determines the quality of life. If you are interested in something, you will focus on it. And if you focus attention on anything, it is likely that you will become interested in it. Many of the things we find interesting are not so by nature, but because we took the trouble of paying attention to them. Most enjoyable activities are not natural. They demand an effort that initially one is reluctant to make. But once the interaction starts to provide feedback to the person's skills, it usually begins to be intrinsically rewarding. A joyful life is an individual creation that cannot be copied from a recipe. Enjoyment appears at the boundary between boredom and anxiety, when the challenges are just balanced with the person's capacity to act. The task is to learn how to enjoy everyday life without diminishing other people's chances to enjoy theirs. It is by being fully involved with every detail of our lives, whether good or bad, that we find happiness, not by trying to look for it directly. The self expands through acts of self-forgetfulness. It is better to look suffering straight in the eye, acknowledge and respect its presence, and then get busy as soon as possible focusing on things we choose to focus on. The psychic entropy peculiar to the human condition involves seeing more to do than one can actually accomplish and feeling able to accomplish more than what conditions allow. Success, like happiness, cannot be pursued. It must ensue, as the unintended side effect of one's personal dedication to a course greater than oneself. It is not the skills we actually have that determine how we feel, but the ones we think we have. People who learn to control inner experience will be able to determine the quality of their lives, which is as close as any of us can come to being happy. Few things are sadder than encountering a person who knows exactly what he should do, yet cannot muster enough energy to do it. Attention is like energy, in that without it no work can be done, and in doing work is dissipated. Pain and pleasure occur in consciousness and exist only there. It is how we choose what we do and how we approach it that will determine whether the sum of our days adds up to a formless blur or to something resembling a work of art. But it is impossible to enjoy a tennis game, a book, or a conversation unless attention is fully concentrated on the activity. When people start believing that progress is inevitable and life easy, they may quickly lose courage and determination in the face of the first signs of adversity. The mind has enormous untapped potential that we desperately need to learn how to use. The information we allow into consciousness becomes extremely important. It is, in fact, what determines the content and the quality of life. Money can increase or decrease happiness depending on how it is used. Although the flow experience appears to be effortless, it is far from being so. It often requires strenuous physical exertion or highly disciplined mental activity. It does not happen without the application of skilled performance. Flow helps to integrate the self because in that state of deep concentration, consciousness is unusually well ordered. Thoughts, intentions, feelings, and all the senses are focused on the same goal. Experience is in harmony. Enjoyable events occur when a person has not only met some prior expectation or satisfied a need or a desire, but also gone beyond what he or she has been programmed to do and achieved something unexpected, perhaps something even unimagined before. The purpose of the flow is to keep on flowing, not looking for a peak or utopia, but staying in the flow. It is not a moving up, but a continuous flowing. You move up to keep the flow going. Individuals must become independent of the social environment to the degree that they no longer respond exclusively in terms of its rewards and punishment. A person has to learn to provide rewards to herself. She has to develop the ability to find enjoyment and purpose regardless of external circumstances. It is when we act freely, for the sake of the action itself, rather than for ulterior motives, that we learn to become more than what we were. Most of us become so rigidly fixed in the ruts carved out by genetic programming and social conditioning that we ignore the options of choosing any other course of action. A person can make himself happy or miserable, regardless of what is actually happening outside, just by changing the contents of consciousness. The mark of a person who is in control of consciousness is the ability to focus attention at will, to be oblivious to distractions, to concentrate for as long as it takes to achieve a goal, and not longer. It might be true that it is quality time that counts, but after a certain point, quantity has a bearing on quality. Flow experience, like everything else, is not good in an absolute sense. It is good only in that it has the potential to make life more rich, intense, and meaningful. The ultimate test for the ability to control the quality of the experience is what a person does in solitude, with no external demands to give structure to attention. Happiness is not something that happens. It is not the result of good fortune or random chance. It is not something that money can buy or power command. It does not depend on outside events, but rather on how we interpret them. Almost every situation we encounter in life presents possibilities for growth. But these transformations require that a person be prepared to perceive unexpected opportunities. Increasingly, the emphasis is being to value behavior over subjective states. What is admired is success, achievement, the quality of performance rather than the quality of experience.